I haven't been on for a while, and I haven't been doing Cheesecake Challenge, but I'm here with my good friend Crypto Comics, also known as Matt Mers, and my good friend Melter from Twitter. We're here to just kind of talk and John, and you get a look at what I'm doing with my lettering and why it so takes so long because I'm doing it myself, and I'm not a professional. So let's go take a look at that. This is Photoshop, and you're kind of seeing a scene a little bit grisly that is in the book, and I'm trying currently right now to get the flow of how the captions are read, and these are kind of floating captions here in this particular page. Um, there's some negative space, as you can see. This is negative space behind these captions, and then a space like this where it's not there's some visual interest but not really important stuff, say like this or that or this center image or down here, um, and so there's more negative space right there, and then I can put things, and that's what I'm trying to do with this is get it so people can read it properly, that it doesn't confuse the reader as they go through these lines, and so its placement is key in this. Again, I'm not a professional at this, and this is something that letters will learn over time how to kind of lay this in quicker than maybe I would. Uh, and again, like what I'm doing purposefully here is to make it more a little more artistically laid out. Uh, I'm gonna zoom in here so you can kind of see the font. You get the right thing. So now, if you go in here, you're seeing I have like a specific font. Now, for those who don't know, you can get fonts on 1001 fonts that are free for commercial distribution. That means they won't hit you up for any commercial rights. Others are proprietary fonts that you have to pay for. And right now, I have a cat that's on top of me, using me as a pincushion. Okay. So like this reads kind of like that. Now I kind of have a curving effect there. Maybe I want to do away with that. I'm going to figure that out as I go along. How what's best to for the reading. Personally I like this kind of angling better, but that usually only comes on the right side. Um, it reads with how English, and European script reads. It reads left to right as opposed to right to left or up and down. Um, yeah. What do you guys think? I'm sitting here just kind of jawing away about what I'm.
Well, it's this is really an art form, especially when you have the artwork of whiskey paint. Your lettering is an art form, and we've talked about this a little bit off stream about eventually after you get it kind of laid out and looking good and you're feeling comfortable with it, then you got to go in and do these little touch ups and add some flair to it, color, size changes, things like that.
Yeah, that's
And
definitely a thing. You mentioned here. Like, I'm gonna go in real quick and look at an area where Matt was suggesting. Now, this is talking about uh, the character of X, and I know a lot of people might have a problem with that name, but he's a kind of a no-name character, and he's the father of Sugar Lightspeed, who's my main protagonist. This is kind of explaining where she comes from and kind of her backstory and his reaction to things. Now, he has a code, creative sort, keep things simple, no kids, no rape, clean and professional. Now, Matt feels that no kids, no rape should be probably popped out a little bit, maybe changing color,
absolutely,
maybe
much more pronounced.
font. So because there X is, and this is X. This is him in profile as he takes off his heads up display, kind of goggle shades, and looks at in the horrific scene before him. You see his teeth here clenched. He's a character of Shades of Grey, and he's farther darker towards the blackish end of the spectrum, but he does have limits, and what he's encountering here is something that chills him and turns his stomach and makes him angry and sad all at once, and it really affects him. And he's going to encounter sugar in this terrible place. So how this is read, and Matt has a point that popping out specific things to let people know with a little. It's kind of like italicizing a little bit, only in a different manner, to let people know that these are main points about this character's, his integral parts. He doesn't do these things. He may kill people because he's an assassin. He may kill men and women, but he doesn't do kids because he considers them innocent, and he doesn't do terrible things like rape. He might torture somebody, but he won't rape them. It's against his ethos. And everybody has a different way of looking at things, and people will. It's weird that he'd kill and torture, but why would he rape? Well, that's how he is. It's just who he is. He likes things. If he's going to do torture, he's not going to make a mess of it. He's going to use techniques that will keep things clean and professional. He's just taking he's getting information if he's doing anything like that. So
hey, let me say hi to Niobe Comics in the chat. Larry, that's Larry from Niobe Comics.
What's up, Larry?
He's got something really special coming out here in the coming weeks. I'm sure he's going to be very excited to talk about that at some point in the future. Niobe Comics. Check your DMs on Twitter, buddy.
Definitely go check out Niobe Comics. He's been doing this for a while. He's much more seasoned than I am in producing comics. He's up from in Canada, over there in New Brunswick, I believe. Good guy, and we appreciate his input a lot in our hangouts as well as on streams and so forth. So anyway, I'm going to show you some other things. This right here is page 7. This takes a long time, especially since I'm fairly meticulous in what I do, and I'm always second guessing myself. And I want to present the best possible version of my book. So when people, when they read it, they're happy with what they get. Now I'm going to go over here. This is a different page. This is a sugar page where she's encountering a guy called Nunzio. That's the man behind her. And to let you know, Nunzio's about 6'4". She's about 4'10". She's not very big. She's a pocket full of dynamite. This hasn't been completely done. Matt doesn't really like the captions. I definitely do like these golden captions. I'll bring you in so you can see them. And then this is going to be changed somewhat, and I will do a kind of an effect on that, hopefully. These will be changed to a different font and flipped so follow whether they circle down the spiral staircase here. There will be something shifted in this laugh, and those are things that take care of. This will be a different color, and probably placed in a different place slightly, so it doesn't overlap. When it comes to bubbles and things, I don't like a lot of negative space in my dialogue or thought bubbles. I like them very clean and right around the text itself. So I will shape the text to the bubble itself when this gets done. And so those are things that take time. Every little thing in Photoshop has to be addressed and figured out, and move things around. So like this click will have to be rotated and just right, so it doesn't detract from the actual.
There's another thing I want you to maybe check out, Jimmy, which is using the blur tool on the so maybe it's a little faded down, darker in the darkness. It becomes clearer and crisper as it reaches out.
Yeah, that's something that can be done. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done with Photoshop, and manipulation of the media and stuff. We put it in here. each one of those things has to be addressed. As you can see, there's an effect that Whiskey Paint did this and initially. So that effect that's on there is actually from this tool down here. So if you brought it up, you would have a bunch of effects that you can lay on top of things. This is not a. I've been working with Photoshop for a long time, and even I still have used every last little feature and function because it's not my business to do, like the graphic designer or somebody who does it. But the facility that you can do with this is pretty impressive. Yeah. So that's another thing. Let me just go see what else I have popped up. Let me show you one other I've been working on. Yeah.
Whiskey stuff does look really great. What you're doing on like the first page you showed us, with the relettering and stuff, it really does fit in with the art really well, and that's a lot what you want to go on. Oh, and we got somebody else in the chat too, Macabre XYL. He's like, what? So I don't know what he's asking what for.
Well, welcome.
This is Little Girl Lethal. This is Jimmy's book, Macabre.
Yeah. So what we're looking at here is a double page spread at the very, very beginning. It's an establishing shot, what they usually call in film and television. They'll have, when you do a fly-in or something, it tells you where you're at. All right, and this happens in comics as well. Any visual medium usually has an establishing shot, and here it is with a panoramic look to the south end of the Valley of Lost Peaks, and you see like buildings. The buildings actually extend all the way around. There's a lake here, and it goes all the way down to like 100 miles that direction down to this peak here, which is called Flame Peak. It's a volcano, and the buildings, which are
zoom in.
Okay, zoom in. The buildings continue on, clear down around, and they circle this entire valley, which is 100 miles long, 50 miles wide, approximately.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, he did a really good job. You get Sugar over here to the side, and there's her motorcycle, the Dodge Tomahawk, modified Dodge Tomahawk. Again, how this is laid out, I've chosen kind of an Old West font a little bit because this is set in an alternate universe in what would be considered our American West. And so I want kind of that vibe. Your font will inform people about character and location, time, and that's why we picked that. And again, it kind of has like a good, the bad, and the ugly vibe. Like on the promotional posters, if you look at those, it kind of has that feel. Again, you can see like how I popped out certain words for meaning's sake here, and then the flow still hasn't been completely finished on this page. That means reading flow, how you would read it so everything gets read in proper order. That takes time and often, and I'm working on this page that if I do have the flow cross the median, I'm going to have space there somewhere because there's going to be the crease of the book in this area because this is a double page spread. It's one of those things that takes a bit of finagling, and it makes the meticulous nature of this part of the process a little bit maddening at times. I'm sure other people do it quicker than I do, but like I said, I second guess myself all the time, and I've gone through this a couple of times and just been disgusted with what I've done. I'm getting to the point where I feel that we're coming into like the stretch as I get these pages laid down properly. And then once I get done with all this business, so it reads at least right to me, I'll put it before people like Matt and Melter and other people that I kind of trust, let them read it over and give me some feedback as to how they see if I've made any mistakes, and so there's no confusion as people read it. Also, if you see these,
Speaking of mistakes, Nivey pointed something in the chat. He says you've got lettering blade past the safe zone.
well, I've done that on purpose. I know what I'm doing, but I understand these are the brackets for the safe zone. If I push it all in the center here, it gets really compacted. So there is a place out here. I will be pulling this down a little bit. It's just, like I said, this isn't finished here. But I understand what Larry's saying. This, if you've ever heard the term full bleed is outside this solid line, this last solid line. That is the full bleed. That's where it's going to be. You're not going to be able to put anything out there. Anything inside of that may be cut if the die is not quite right. So your full safety zone. Cat, get off my computer. Oh.
You know it's a good night when you hear, "Oh, get off me, cat."
It happens every night, ladies and gentlemen. Every night.
It's a bit.
It happened right then, just for Larry.
Yeah. Hey, Larry loves that. He loves to quote me saying, "Get off me, cat." Yep. So we have these lines, these segmented lines. This is the very last edge. You can put it there, but you may have a problem when they do the full formatting. That's why there's another step in the process. You get what they call a proof copy, and they will send that to you, and you will look it over and see if there's any problems. And if there is some problems, then you have to adjust that and maybe proof again so that it's proper. So when you get your copies of the proof, it gets sent out to the people. They're in the right place. Everything's set up perfectly, and the formatting is done right. There are ways to adjust this. If you wanted it, you could add more. You could shrink down this image here and then add a little bit on the edges for more full bleed. But that's something that comes at the very end where you're really trying to figure out things. I've had some issues. The first stuff that Whiskey Paint sent me was at 300 DPI, so everything I have here has to be shrunk down to 300 DPI. So everything matches when you do the formatting for the print file. It's like I said, this is a long drawn out process. When people wonder why things take so long, and you're doing it yourself as an auteur comic book producer, you're learning as you go, and if you haven't done it before, it's a long and arduous thing to figure it out. And even once I assume once, even when you do your second and third and your sophomore efforts, you're still going to be having to be meticulous about this particular process. And what I like to do when I'm doing this, I obviously I did a background here with kind of looks like blood drops, and when Matt pointed out, he caught what I was also trying to do. Like, these are also trying to be kind of like petals of like a rose, so blood and flowers kind of mixed for this backdrop, and it allows me in this establishing double page spread to put the text outside the image, and I try to my best to not cover over the art. Whiskey Paint has done a good job in most of it, leaving me areas to play with. But even so, when you're putting in like dialogue bubbles and thought bubbles and captions, it's sometimes you have to cover over art because you have to put in your dialogue and your text. I try my very best to not do that, to let the art speak for itself, because, as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And in my estimation of good sequential art, the art comes first, and it should tell a story that you can read just visually, and then all the words are kind of the icing that adds depth to the story. Where you do exposition and you kind of do a deep dive on characters that way. But you can still read a story properly, even if you didn't have the words. It should be able to do that. You should be able to get something of a flow, of a dynamic narrative from the visuals alone. So let's I'm going to get out of this, and we're going to go to another one. Any comments from you guys? I mean, I've been talking here quite a bit.
There's nothing else in the chat, but yeah, I mean, it looks good so far. Is that going to be the final look for the gas, or are you still editing on that?
Well, can you elaborate? What do you mean?
Yeah, I was looking at the picture where she's going gas. I was wondering if that's the final look, or you still.
No. I have adjustments to make on just about every page. There's a couple of them that are finished, but those are the ones that are simple, where they're just captions, like with X, and he doesn't have to say a whole lot. Like this one, obviously, I haven't addressed the bubbles. The bubbles really have to be worked over quite a bit, and I did a bunch of that earlier on, and I just was not satisfied, so I just did away with all the effects, because I was disgusting myself. I didn't do it properly, and I'd wasted all this time, and it really made me angry. Try not to have that on stream, because maybe it'd be entertaining, but I don't like it. Things like this. Let me bring it in here. I'm laying on here. This needs to be moved off her shoulder over here, and then maybe change the font. Baby Did a Bad Thing is reference to a song by Chris Isaak, and so this is kind of a throw to understand that the world that Sugar inhabits is kind of like ours, but it's also not. So some things are similar, but some things are very dissimilar. Again, like right here, what I want to do with these bubbles is Sugar can see the auras of people. Now, hers going to be a certain color, just static. But every character she meets will have a different kind of border on it, a colored border, and maybe like just a not an opaque, but like a diaphanous, like you can kind of see through it. So it's one of my ways of seeing the art behind it. But as you can see, I'm going to move this away from her mouth.
Oh, hey Jimmy. Apparently, Crypto left. You're gonna have to re-add him back into the chat. I mean, into the stream. So you have to go back to there.
Right. Sorry, Crypto.
That's it. There we go.
Awesome.
I didn't even know you left.
It just booted me for some reason.
It's weird. But like, if you see here, I mean, Whiskey Paint kind of laid this down just basically, and I'm glad that he helped me out, because a lot of this is very nice help. But the shaping of the bubble is going to be different size wise. I like to bring the size so they're smaller, so they don't intrude too much in the art. As you can see, this goes across her lips, covers up the ankh on her ear. I don't like that. I want to figure out a way to bring that away. And so if you look over here, I don't have a problem going across gutters. Some people do. They think it's distracting. I don't. I actually don't mind, as long as there's a negative space. This little dog that she's encountered, he doesn't have anything to say. I probably could put a little thing or there, but that's not really necessary. But he's got a lot of negative space here, so I can work with that. Also, you can move around. All these panels are they're separate layers within this, so they are kind of, you can shift them if you want. One of the things I hate of late is the tendency towards 9-panel pages that seem to be done by a lot of people in the industry these days. They get boring and pedantic to me. I don't particularly like that. I like different size panels. I like overlapping panels. Sometimes I like asymmetrical panels, depending on what it is. You saw one of the X pages, which definitely has that effect too, which is like one other. Here there are definite gutters. Because this is like a noir book, it's fairly dark, although the scenes here are very bright. I like the black backgrounds, so it sets a tone. These will be changed, different font here, different font for the reading. I was thinking of doing a different font for each character, but I think that might be she's going into the house, knocking on the big wolf door knocker. Speaking of knockers, there you go. I do pander a little bit to the fan service. Sugar is very sexualized character, and if people don't like that, well, that's just too bad. They can go read something else. Um, one of the nice things that let me go back down here that I'm trying to figure out with this character right here, behind this thought bubble is a row of cars, and I have to figure out a way. This is one of the pieces. I may have to just drop a bunch of his talky talk here, and just have him go whoa or something like that, so I can show the line of cars that are actually behind this, and you can kind of see the cars up here. You see them from another direction right here. Like I said, I don't like covering up the art, and as you can see, a lot of the like this one would be smaller, so it's not covering up the circle, the ring of the knocker, and maybe just filling in that area right there. I want to show as much art as I can, because Whiskey Paint, for those who haven't heard me before, I'm very lucky to be partnered with Whiskey Paint, who is an amazing artist, and I can't play up his art more than I mean, he sells my ideas so well, and concepts and storylines through his art. All right, I'm gonna jump out of that. Melter was asking about this gasp. Yeah, this will be changed quite a bit. Probably a hot pink with a little bit of bubbling to effect on it. Which all that. Excuse me.
I think, especially if you add a little bit of like 3D to it, like with like some black underneath it, you can give it some kind of like size.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, there's many different effects. I might put a glow around it or something like that. It will pop. Trust me. And that's one of those ones, the sound effect you want to pop.
Well, we lost Crypto again. He needs you to add him back one more time, he says.
What is up with that? What's the dealio, yo?
I don't know. It did it before.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm a target.
It's weird, man. It's totally weird.
Well, StreamYard is still, in beta. So
You know what I find really interesting, Jimmy, is that you are streaming this stream on a channel that only has one subscriber, and that subscriber is me.
Oh, no.
I only have one subscriber?
On this channel, and it's me.
Oh,
should be Slick Jimmy Speaks. What's going on with that?
It's, yeah. It's all cattywampus, buddy.
Slick Jimmy Speaks has over 200. Has over 200.
We're not on Slick Jimmy Speaks tonight, though, bud.
What are we on?
We're on some other Slick Jimmy Speaks with the X as the avatar.
What?
Now I'm annoyed. Oh well.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'll mirror it.
That's the way to do it. You can just download it and put it up there.
Yeah, it's annoying.
He's a boomer, folks. He's a boomer.
Would you be quiet with
No.
your giving me crap?
It's fine. It's okay to be a boomer. You're learning about the YouTubes. It's fun.
Well, it's okay, everybody, because like in a few weeks we'll be getting the Little Girl Lethal coins out.
I would do that if I could get a nice mint, because I'd want to do it. Mint. Now this is a preface page. I am going to put an image here that's going to be like a watermark of Sugar looking over his shoulder. It was the image I'm going to use. Let me see if I can bring it up. I'll open. Downloads. Let's see downloads. Whiskey Paint did some concept art back in the day, but like even Whiskey Paint's concept art was pretty cool, and I'm looking for it. I can't seem to find it, but it's her kind of looking over her shoulder, and I don't know where it's at. Let me try pictures, see if it's in there.
There we go, folks. Let's see what we see. This will be interesting. Live on YouTube.
Yeah, there's nothing in there that's just trust me. I'm not.
I know.
I'm all right.
I know.
Don't just remember to pick the modest version first.
That's good.
Oh, there it is. There it is. All right.
There it is. We found it. Here we go.
So,
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
so like this is what I think I'm going to use right here.
Can you zoom in? Zoom in.
Yeah,
Whoop, wrong function.
not out.
So, like, I like this little thing right here, just her face.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then I'm going to put that be kind of to the side here, and then maybe take this text. There's these big blocks of text.
With her titty out like that and everything.
No, just her face.
Okay, I see.
And now I have my cat who's beside my computer now. He's not on top of it. So
Titties and kitties here tonight on Slick Jimmy Speaks,
yeah.
the secret channel.
There was a little bit of a nipple there, but I mean it's not really completely formed. So
So it's deformed.
what now?
You said it's not formed, so it's deformed.
So like yeah, see, there's a little nipple there, but it's nothing.
Yeah.
But
Heck yeah.
That's what you call a puffy.
So this was these are initial sketches that he came up with. She's a little long faced here. I don't mind though. I kind of like it. And then yeah. So a lot of the stuff that he did for fun, seeing that there's just a body, figuring out things, doing expressions.
How cute.
Yeah, he did a lot of fun stuff. Whiskey Paint is a really good guy to work with. Obviously, English is not his first language, but that's no problem with that because everything else speaks for itself.
Well, he obviously understands English and
Oh, he definitely
some
does.
of these American expressions and stuff. How this works.
Yeah. Yeah. I again can't speak highly enough of my partner Whiskey Paint. Going to go outside of that, and that will be this here, and I may put a border around that and bring these down in size. And so this will establish kind of. Let me bring that in. It's kind of a welcome to the readers before we jump into the establishing shot, and let people know what they're in for. So it's kind of a preface, and then there will be like an acknowledgments page, and which Matt actually will be on.
That's awesome. Wow. Surprise, surprise. Just remember to thank me at E3.
Yeah. And there will be some other pages. One of the nice things I haven't talked about. Let me bring up our. Let's see if I can do this one. Okay, so this is the logo that we've done. Now, some people said seems to be a little bit illegible, but I'll figure that out. It will be legible, but I do like the golden stuff. It reflects on the Lost Peaks thematics. The huge city is based on its mining industry, which is funded by its gold ore. What do we got here? Great, fantastic. Let me see if I can.
You just need to disconnect the L from the two T's in little.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah, they look a little too close. It looks like it's
that's what's
a
doing
big C. It looks like it's Kittable, Keithable.
Cat, go away. Cat.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this is one of those things we've been working on. I've been working on for a while. I'm looking for my cover. It's not in there anymore. So where I'm there, and every one of these is kind of in a stage of flux right now, to where I'm not quite there yet. Let me go to downloads. Come on. Huh. Oh, there it is. But yeah, this. Where did I put it? Here it is. So this takes a minute. It's a big fold. Like a lot of these, nothing people don't realize. I have a fairly good laptop, but it's still not like the super duper fast one. So these Photoshop files are actually very large, and when you put them in, you have to. It takes some time. So I have the outside wraparound cover, but on the inside um, of the covers, there will be other images that were an idea for a cover that we were going to do, and we'll lay those in there as well. So you're going to get a lot of art for your a lot of bang for your buck in this book. I don't like where you just have like a text page. You got to add some visual flair to it, and I hope that when people get this in their hands, that it'll be square bound and it'll have a real good vibe to it. It
Will
is.
there be fluting? Will there be fluting?
I don't think so. I'm going to do a fairly high quality paper. I'm going to do as high quality as I can afford, both with the cover stock and the interior stock.
Will you be launching 3 campaigns for different books before you ship this book out?
No, I don't want to get distracted from this. I want to finish one project at a time, and it's time consuming. I get why people do. Sometimes they do multiple campaigns. It is a way to generate revenue and to have sell more copies.
Jimmy, regarding your tardiness on the book, what do you feel is like the most important lesson or two you learned when you obviously you underestimated the amount of time this beautiful project would take. What is it you've learned and that you're going to be able to capitalize on for episode 2 of Little Girl Lethal?
Well, definitely I made some miscalculations, and I will have what I need to do is I need to set out at the first that there's an elastic time period, and those who back will have to just live with the elastic time period, because sometimes quality takes a lot. Now, since I've done it once, I will have a roadmap for many of the stuff that I've done already. So that should expedite some of it. But however, things have happened in the interim that I didn't expect, and then I just had to deal with them, and and they took lots of time. That's one of those things that in a creative process people don't understand, especially when you're doing it on your own dime. In many things, and other people, when they're investing, it is a bit of a risk. Now, I would never. This is going to be done for print. By the end of the year, and if not sooner. I'm pushing hard. But like I said, there's all these little minutiae things. We're looking at it's the wraparound cover, and I haven't even put in the trade dress. There's going to be a small trade dress somewhere here. It's Big Nugget Books is my trade dress, the company. And then I'm still figuring out if I need a UPC with this. I don't think I do, but
No, you don't need a UPC if you're not going to sell it in a store, and you don't need an ISBN if you're not going to sell it in a store.
And I wouldn't think so, but for some reason,
sell it on Amazon, right?
For some reason, Zach is doing his with them on it, and I'm not sure.
Well, he probably put it on Amazon. That's why.
Okay, well, none of this particular version of Little Girl Lethal will ever be done again in this particular way, right? So this is unique to this campaign. If I do put something out on Amazon, it will be just the main story here that's inside. It won't have the secondary story, won't have all the extra art, and so it'll be different. It'll be more of a floppy book as opposed to this very nice, in my opinion.
Tell the people about your secondary story.
No,
it's exclusive to this Indiegogo project.
Okay. It's by Troy Torres with the art, and Matt and I actually did the story. I did the initial story, and Matt had input afterwards to come up with kind of a fun, much more light scenario than the main story is, which is a little bit more grim, dark, a little bit more horrific and noir. This one is just a kind of a cartoonish look version of Sugar and her world, and it's kind of non-canon, but it's a lot of fun for those who know the community that we kind of hang out in. There's a world of I guess controversies and things that go on, and we kind of do we kind of did our little statement on that in hopefully a tongue-in-cheek way where everybody can enjoy it, and let people know that it's just comic books, people. It is, and we should be having fun as opposed to having vitriol and backbiting and constant drama, and that's what I'm all about is to network, make friends, create a really, really good product, and hopefully we can keep the medium alive, and evolving and becoming cool. Also, throwing back to the things that we loved about what we grew up with in some manner. Like I've said before, this is, if you like Sin City, you're probably going to dig Little Girl Lethal.
Heck yeah.
If you like Fifth Element,
Sin City meets 2000 AD.
yeah. If you like 2000 AD, like with Judge Dredd, you may dig this. If you like The Fifth Element or Akira, you're probably really going to enjoy Blade Runner. It kind of has that vibe. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. And then also, the schoolgirl, the naughty, dangerous schoolgirl, which is kind of a trope. I've capitalized on that. I'm not the first one to do it, but yeah, this is what we're looking at, and I hope that everybody out there. I'm going to post this as an update on my campaign page, so people can kind of get what's going on, why things are taking so long, why I'm late on the book, and hopefully everybody will understand and be excited for what we're doing. It's coming, and it's getting there. It's just it takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes hours and hours.
And hours and hours.
Well, you got some support in chat. Jay Garza said that he letters tons of comics and does it for himself and other creators in the past, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, people. Yeah, he's totally right, and he probably has much more experience than I do. Probably has years of experience more than I do, and the meticulous nature of it. It is an art form, like Matt said before. It's not something people just think you kind of slap in the text and then you.
Well, I mean, you can do that. It can be, but it's like it is that, but it can be an art form.
Right. I mean, and you can. I mean,
I'd say my biggest complaint about these modern indie comics that are using pre-made fonts is that it's made it less of an art form.
Right.
But some people go the extra mile, and like it doesn't hurt when you use the pre-made fonts to take out the brush and smudge that a little bit and blur it a little bit and blend it and make it look like it was painted.
Once you lay it in, and sometimes you can put an effect on it, then you can flatten it, which meaning is that if you have a text, like you use this function over here, text, and it brings it in, and then you write in a text box on whatever it is, that's manipulatable as a text element, a layer on this, but you can flatten that with the layers, and you would go in here and you would merge visible or whatever, and then eventually what happens is it becomes just an image as opposed to a text layer. And then that can be, you can futz around with that there because you can stretch it. You can use a smudge tool. You can use a blur. There's a whole bunch of
Anything,
things
everything.
you can do with it.
Make it original. Make it
Yeah.
original. Make it art.
Now, this particular thing right here, where Matt has said that he wants like a little more division on the corner here. This was done by by illustrator Monk. He put this together. The text, not the not
He's
the
crazy talented.
He's super talented, and he did this original font for both the little and the lethal, and then the girl's kind of more of a girly, swirly kind of looking thing. Here, let me zoom in on that so people can see it. It's the same thing I did, showed you before on the black background. And so when you do this, like this is proprietary to me, and he did an absolutely fantastic job in my opinion. Even though it might be a little bit illegible currently in its current state, but we'll see. That again, that's another one of those things that you have to address so that everything that you see on the cover that is written, people can tell what it means. You know, it's not like some sort of graffiti tag that you don't know what you're looking at. These are things that let me fit the screen here. These are things that have to be done. If I did an edging, say if I did a border on this whole thing, there's just something small so that the art would be preserved, and so you wouldn't be cutting off the art. That's one of the things I'm thinking about. So that the bleed would be like a border. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that because I don't want to cut off any of the art that Whiskey Paint has created. All this has to be done in the right measurements. So as you can see here, this goes from 0 to 28. And then this is by 22. So this is double the size of what it will be printed as. I keep saying this, but it is a long process getting this thing done, especially when you haven't done it before. This is not this is not my business. This is not what I've trained myself in, nor I've done most of my life. So all new, all different. And I'm an older gentleman now. I'm 50, and yeah, and old dog, new tricks is a different thing. And Matt makes fun of me for being a boomer, but he pretty much has has it on a nail on the head. This is not something that I'm used to, but I'm doing it the best I can with, and I'm hoping that when I'm done with it, people will see the time and the effort that I've put into this, and that Whiskey Paint have put into this, and that Troy has, and the writing will be reflected in that. I hope people appreciate that I've tried to craft my words as best as possible. And Matt helped me with the secondary story. Had a lot of fun with that, and that was a labor of love as well. And that all the extra art that I have commissioned, and people have actually done fan art, those were labors of love that when we put them in, they will understand that all this stuff and how we've crafted it is something that every book will be the same in the quality and standard, and then the publishing of it as well. I will do my best to get the best quality paper and the best publishing, and so when you get it in your hands, it'll be something you want to sleeve or maybe slab, and also read and love, and that there you go. Again, one of the things that people need to remember: this book is not for kids. It has some pretty adult situations,
Extremely adult situations.
and it does have nudity. For
Graphic nudity. Full bush.
For those who got the Immodest edition, they have nudity. For those who got the Modest edition, it's still pretty risque. Again, still not for children under a certain age.
No one under 21 allowed.
Well, I think the Modest you probably can get
18 up.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the book that we're looking at, and I hope you all have enjoyed what we've done tonight. I don't want to belabor the point, nor this, but you've gotten to see some of the process, and maybe I'll do another one of these videos as I get to the end pages of the book, and you can kind of feel where it's going. Cat, another cat. I got another cat.
Oh, well, Jimmy, maybe next time we can actually have it on the right channel.
Yeah, that would be good. I thought I got it on the right channel. I thought it was under
Hey,
Speaks. But,
Listen, what's most important here, Jimmy? What's most important is that these beautiful people in Webtown go to megawattcomic.com and back my comic book, Megawatt versus the Vampires of the Sun, live right now on Kickstarter, baby.
I do endorse Matt's book, but it's not the most important thing. My
It
book
is for all ages.
his is a 4-quadrant book. Yeah, it's about vampires who want
Luchadores enmascarados.
light, and they're fighting lucha libres.
Luchadores. Lucha
Or
libre.
wrestler guys to save some young Latina ladies who are being abducted by these terrible vampire Nosferatu bastards. Yeah, so go out and check out that. Also, go check out Little Girl Lethal if you're seeing this.
Really important, actually, Jimmy. The best time to back Little Girl Lethal is right after you backed Megawatt.
Okay then.
True story.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Matt loves his book, and he should.
I love your book too.
Done by Josh Spencer with the art.
Art by Josh Spencer.
And yeah, what do you think, Melter?
Well, I like both books. I've backed both of them. I'm waiting on the modest version, but I understand. It does take time, but just sitting here watching you and seeing what has been done and what needs work, it's worth a little bit longer wait because this is really good quality artwork. This is, and you don't want to mess this up. No one wants to have like floating pages or a book that won't shut flat, even if you lay like tools on top of it for hours. We want to make it look great.
This I don't think that'll be a problem. This will be square bound, so it will come flattened. I hope. I mean, like I said, there's a part where you go check you check the quality of your book through the proof. Let's look at this. So this is the modest kind of version. It may take us take a second to pop up here. Now, as you can see, she's got a little covering on her bits, and then she's got a little G-string going on. That's the kind of thing what you're going to see in the modest version. It's going to be things will be covered, but it's still pretty bare. In the immodest version, it will be the full Monty. Just so people know. There you go. All right. I think this stream has been pretty good. I don't think we need to go much longer. You have anything else to add, y'all?
If you haven't gone to megawattcomic.com, go to megawattcomic.com. That's megawattcomic.com. Also, go to lonewolflegends.com. That's what I got to say.
That's good. Anything you want to pimp there?
Troy's art looks fantastic. If you love Comicsgate or hate Comicsgate, you're gonna love the backup story in Little Girl Lethal. That's all I can say. I don't care if you love Comicsgate or hate Comicsgate. If you know about Comicsgate, then you're gonna want Little Girl Lethal and that backup story. It's gonna blow your mind.
I
Gotta love Troy Torres.
I hope that everybody knows Troy Torres, Mr. Marvel of Wampool fame, and yeah, he's the artist on the secondary story. We're gonna shut this down now, and I hope everybody had a good time seeing what the process of what we're doing. Do go buy Matt's book, which is still it hasn't quite reached its goal yet.
No, still available at megawattcomic.com.
So I hope people will go and check it out
At megawattcomic.com.
at megawattcomic.com on Kickstarter. I know some people have an adversity to Kickstarter, but I don't. And I think any good product that's out there, go buy it. Go put your money on it. All right. Melter, thank you for being here and helping me facilitate this stream and getting StreamYards up so that we could look at our media and the things that I've been doing. And pimping also
Megawattcomic.com.
megawattcomic.com. Also come to Little Girl Lethal on Indiegogo. In demand, currently still there. You can still get copies. All right, we're going out. Have a great night. Be good to yourselves and be good to those you love. And keep the world a better place. Have a good night, y'all.
Bye.
Oh boy.